What's up, everyone? Justin here to do another wrestling tribute video for the late, great, legendary former WWF champion. Only held it for about 3 to 4 weeks, but still, he's a former world heavyweight WWE champion. The late, great Iron Sheik has passed away. Sheiky baby, one of the best heels of all time, one of the most entertaining promos. A lot of his promos were just yelling and just I don't think he was trying to be funny, but they were hilarious. A lot of his interviews and promos, especially with Mean Gene Okerlund, who he called Gene Mean. That's hilarious. Just one of the great heels of all time. This is my tribute show to him. He passed away yesterday. I didn't have time to do a proper tribute show for him, but I want to right now, and I have to. I grew up in his era. That's when I became a fan. In the late 80s, he was still around. But my God, he was great. He was a great worker, great wrestler, great amateur. And an all-time just absolutely great heat-seeking heel. One of the best. I mean, his passing made, and my God, he was active on Twitter. His tweets were fucking hilarious. He didn't run his Twitter, but he had like 2 guys that ran it that I think were friends of his or like family to him or business partners. I don't know. But I believe 2 younger guys ran his Twitter. But again, they had permission because they knew the Sheik. So, I mean, his passing made news all over the world. The Rock put out a tweet and a video saying rest in power, that the Sheik's family was like family to him and his family. Roddy Piper, rest in peace, Hot Rod. Roddy Piper put out a tweet. Sadly, he's not live, but his Twitter account is still live. And it's a pretty sad tweet. It's a picture of Roddy Piper, Nikolai Volkov, the Iron Sheik, Classy, Freddie Blassie. They are all in it. And Cowboy Bob Orton is in the background, but he's not, thankfully, he's not passed away. So I'm trying to get this picture to load anyways. Just very sad, but he lived a hell of a life. He was a family man. He lived like a rock star. He also partied. He loved to drink and probably smoke the marijuana. I don't know, but he loved to fucking party. He loved to have a good time. He was absolutely just great in the ring. Sadly, after he left the WWF, I would say after he was like, I believe he was fired when he got caught with Hacksaw Jim Duggan in the same car with like the All-American babyface fighting for America, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and then the Iranian Iron Sheik. They were caught in the same car together. It made a ton of news, and they were both fired, but Hacksaw was brought back. Here's a picture, great picture, of 4 legends no longer with us. Roddy Piper, Freddie Blassie. God damn, stupid Twitter had a pop-up. There's a great picture. Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, the tag team champions at the time. And Roddy Piper, Fred Blassie on Piper's Pit. Anyways, another historical fact. Not only was Iron Sheik the guy that ended Bob Backlund's insane record reign as champion. He had it for 7 years, or a long time. I don't know how many years. 6 or 7, I think. Bob Backlund had it, or at least 5 years. But, yeah, Iron Sheik made history a lot in his career. He made history by getting caught with a babyface in the same car when they were feuding. That was not good history, but that was history made. Probably the first time, at least on the East Coast, probably the first time that a heel and a face in the same car made the news, and it was not good. Because back in the 80s, the fans, if they heard about that, they were probably like, what the fuck's wrong with Hacksaw Jim Duggan? Why would you ride in a car with him? How could you be friends? That's why heels and faces did not ride together in the 80s, or probably the 70s or 60s or 50s. They probably were not allowed and told, don't ride in the same car with a face if you're a heel, because if you get caught, the illusion of you hating each other is gone, and the fans won't buy tickets and not believe. That could have actually made a lot of fans not believe anymore or want to be fans if they found out Iron Sheik was busted with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Ric Flair put out a tweet and a picture. He said his dear friends, and they started wrestling together in 1972. There's a pic of Ric Flair and the Iron Sheik right there. Pretty cool pic. Samoa Joe put out a tweet. Love you forever, Bubba. Rest in power to the mighty Iron Sheik. There's Samoa Joe's tweet. Pat McAfee put out a tweet. R.I.P. to the legend, the Iron Sheik. I guess that's a video of the Pat McAfee show where he talked about it. Bully Ray put out a tweet. Triple H, Killer Cross, Lex Luger, Jake the Snake, Tommy Dreamer, Miro. So many wrestlers, past and present wrestlers, tweeted to pay their respects to the Iron Sheik. And he made, again, a lot of news. His passing made news worldwide. Because he's known worldwide as one of the greatest wrestling villains of all time. Some website called the Ultimate Classic Rock talked about the Iron Sheik in his 60 best rock and roll tweets. One of them probably says, fuck you, Hogan, or he loved to do that on Twitter. I don't even think it's him tweeting, but it was still his account. Some website called The Ringer had a Iron Sheik remembering him story. TMZ did a segment and talked to Sergeant Slaughter for I think 13 minutes about him. My God, they had an epic, legendary feud. Sergeant Slaughter, Iron Sheik. Variety put out an article about Iron Sheik. CNN, the New York Times, NBC News. Just so many news articles about the Iron Sheik's passing. Again, the guy made history. Took the title off Bob Backlund, who was a super long reigning champion. He's like top 2, I believe. All-time longest reigns in WWE history is Bob Backlund is number 2. And my God, took the title off Bob Backlund. That was shocking. Made history at WrestleMania 1. The Iron Sheik won the tag team titles the first ever title change at a WrestleMania, the Iron Sheik was a part of it. That's really cool. That he was a part of the first ever title change at a WrestleMania where the Iron Sheik, Nikolai Volkov, won the tag titles with their manager, Freddie Blassie. And before Iron Sheik got with Nikolai Volkov, they were a great team, by the way. My God, they had heat. You had a Russian singing the Russian national anthem, which I believe was not the Russian national anthem, but who the hell would know it wasn't? I was a kid, I thought it was, and I hated hearing him sing it. And I booed every time. But Nikolai would sing the Russian national anthem. They'd get shit thrown at him in the ring. Garbage, batteries, cups, probably piss was thrown at him. Fans hated them. And then Iron Sheik would grab the mic from Howard Finkel. Iran, number one. Iran, number one. Russia, number one. USA, puh! Great shit when Iron Sheik would do that. Just yell on the mic. It was just so simple what he did, but my God, it worked. Iran number one, Iran number one. USA, spit on USA. He was so good. Watch some of his interviews with Mean Gene. They are funny as hell. Watch his promos on YouTube. They were just great. The Rock has said, he said it yesterday in a video about the Iron Sheik. He said, The Rock said he started using the word jabroni because he got it from the Iron Sheik. He took it from him. That the Iron Sheik started the word jabroni. And The Rock just said, I took it from him. I did not start it. The Iron Sheik started the word jabroni. That's awesome. That's pretty cool. So now I'm going to talk about a little bit about his career. I didn't see him in his prime. I was a baby, but I watched all his old matches back. I don't think I've ever seen a AWA Iron Sheik matchup. I'm sure they're on YouTube, but I just haven't seen his AWA stuff. I saw him in Mid-South from WWE Network. He worked everywhere. He worked a ton of territories before he went to WWF. So, yeah, he debuted in 1973. He was came to Minnesota from Iran when there was basically a hit put out on him in Iran. So he had to leave the country with his, or he had to leave, or else he probably would have got assassinated or locked up in Iran. He went to Minnesota, met his wife. Again, he debuted in the AWA. He was trained by Vern Gagne. He was a decorated amateur wrestler, a really good amateur. Great amateur, was coaching wrestling at the University of Minnesota. I'm sure he was a great fucking teacher. He got married, met his wife, got married in 1976. By the way, check out his WWE biography, which dropped like a month ago or 2 months ago. It was damn good on A&E. Find it. Watch the Iron Sheik biography. I'm very happy they got to do a biography on him when he's still alive, and he got to be in it and talk a little bit about his career, even though he looked like he was about 79 or 80 when they interviewed him. Maybe they interviewed him last year. I don't know. But that was awesome. He got to be a part of his biography, that he was still alive. Again, he passed away at 81 years old. As I said, he debuted in 73, retired in 2010. I can't believe he wrestled in 2010 or before that. He must have on the indies. And by the way, Iron Sheik was not his real name. Yeah, I'm going to talk about his before I get into his wrestling career, he worked everywhere almost. AWA, WWF, Mid-South, World Class, Championship Wrestling he worked a little bit in. NWA and WCW in the late 80s and 1990. He probably got great money in WCW. He's probably overpaid in 90 because he couldn't barely move or wrestle much. He could still wrestle, but he was just broken down in his body. So I'm going to read what the family put out of the Iron Sheik, a statement, as they talked about his career as a wrestler and a family man. This is from the Iron Sheik's family. They put it out on Twitter. Today we gather, yesterday he passed, but it says today, or whenever you're watching this, he passed on Wednesday. What's today's date? So he passed on June 7th. Whenever you're watching this, he passed away on June 7th. They say today, his family, in a statement, today we gather with heavy hearts to bid farewell to a true legend, a force of nature, an iconic figure who left an incredible mark on the world of professional wrestling, and he did. Not only did he make history, taking the title off Bob Backlund, winning the first ever title change, winning the tag titles at WrestleMania 1, first ever title change in WrestleMania history. Also was busted with a babyface in the car where they were drinking and found drugs in the car. And I'm pretty sure the drugs were the Iron Sheik's. I don't know, but he liked to party. Every wrestler in the 80s just about probably took some type of drug or partied a ton. I don't blame him because the 80s were the era of partying. And decade of fucking partying. And not only did he put over Hulk Hogan and made Hulkamania in the WWF, just made him bigger. Because Hogan defeated the Iron Sheik January 1984. So he did a ton, made a ton of history in his career. Was even a part of, I'll be back in a second. So I apologize. I was trying to find this. He was even a part of Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling show, cartoon. He was a part of it. The Iron Sheik was in it. And he was a lovable character. He's pretty damn good in it. He wasn't doing the voice, but he was still in it as a character. I don't know if he's in this episode, Ghost Wrestlers. But he was a part of Rockin' Wrestling cartoon, was the Iron Sheik. In this one, you got Hogan, JYD, and Captain Lou. I haven't watched it in a while, but maybe the Iron Sheik is in it. Just check out Rockin' Wrestling cartoon on YouTube. I'm sure you could find an episode with the Iron Sheik a part of it. So back to his family statement. They say he left an incredible mark on the world of professional wrestling. It is with great sadness that we share the news of the passing of the Iron Sheik, but we also take solace in knowing that he departed this world peacefully. that's good to know that he wasn't suffering and didn't have cancer or anything. I'm kind of surprised he lived till 81 because he partied a lot. He lived a hard, tough lifestyle on the road in the 80s. And he survived up until 2023. So it goes on to say, says his he is left leaving behind a legacy that will endure for generations to come. I agree. Beyond the wrestling persona that the world knew so well, the Iron Sheik was a devoted family man. He cherished the love and support of his wife of 47 years, Carol. I think it's Carol, her name. Who stood by his side through thick and thin, offering unwavering encouragement throughout his life. The bond was an anchor, their bond was an anchor, providing him with the strength to face the challenges that life presented to his children, Tanya, Nikki, Marissa, and the son-in-law Eddie. He was not just a wrestling icon, he was a loving and devoted father. Sadly, one of his daughters was murdered. It is talked about in his A&E biography. And he wanted to kill the guy, I believe, in court, and I don't blame him. I'd want to do the same thing if I had children and someone killed one of my children. I would want revenge. And if I couldn't do the revenge, well, then I'd beg the judge or the courts to give the person the fucking electric chair and the death penalty. So anyways, goes on, long statement. He installed in them the values of determination and the importance of following their dreams. Iron Sheik's guidance and unwavering belief in their potential served as a driving force for his children and empowering them to become the best visions of themselves. The Iron Sheik's love also extended to his grandchildren. He cherished every moment spent with them, creating memories that will live forever, be treasured. He shared his wisdom, humor, and vast for life with his grandchildren, leaving an incredible impression on their hearts. Goes on to say he transitioned from sports entertainment with a larger-than-life persona, incredible charisma, and unparalleled in-ring skills. He captivated audiences around the globe. He was a trailblazer, breaking barriers and paving the way for a diverse range of wrestlers who followed in his footsteps. I agree. Beyond the glitz and glamour of the squared circle, the Iron Sheik was a man of passion and dedication. He overcame, I'm going to skip over a few words. He overcame countless challenges in his life, both inside and outside the ring. His journey from a small village in Iran to become one of the most recognizable figures in the world of wrestling is a testament to his unwavering determination. I agree. The guy definitely was known by everybody in the 80s. Just like Hulk Hogan was known by non-wrestling fans, I think Iron Sheik was almost at that level too. He was known by almost everybody. So, long statement from his family. Read the whole thing on his Twitter account because It's a good read. It's worth reading. So he started in the AWA, as I said, where he was trained by Billy Robinson. I guess trained him a lot. He was also in the same class as Ric Flair and Jim Bronzell and Ricky Steamboat and Greg Gagne. His first gimmick was he was a babyface in like dark matches or mid-card matches. But then he adopted a heel gimmick that was just like the Iron Sheik, which later he would become the Iron Sheik. Came with the signature look. He shaved his head bald. He grew a mustache. And he had spikes on his wrestling boots. Those were always really cool looking to me, those spikes on his boots. That looked pretty damn insane. As a kid, I was like, if he hit someone in the head with his spikes on his boots, he's definitely going to bust them open and hurt them right away. Or hurt somebody with the spikes on his boots. And my God, he had a great look when he shaved his head. He had an intimidating look. He looked like a fucking badass that could go and beat anybody's ass or beat up any face. He started bringing his Persian clubs to the ring, which he did that where you go like this, lift him over his head and do an exercise with the Persian clubs. Well, each club was like 60 to 70 pounds, and no other wrestlers could even do that other than him. Everybody tried. In the locker room, they failed. He challenged our wrestlers on Mid-South TV, I believe, to be able to do that with the Persian clubs. Nobody could do it, except for one, I believe. Precious Paul Ellering actually started doing it because he was jacked, and then he got attacked, which was pretty damn funny, by the Iron Sheik. I don't know what year that was, but that was good shit when he's in Mid-South. So after the AWA, he wrestled in Japan. He wrestled in Canada. And then he went to the WWF for a short time in 79 and 80. Which I don't remember him there at all back then. But I wasn't alive in 79 and 80. But I haven't even seen any footage of him from then. So he left in 1980. In 1980-81, he went to Jim Crockett Promotions, where he was feuding with Jim Bronzell over the Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight title. I'm sure those were really good matches. And then he left the Jim Crockett Promotions, went to Mid-South in 81-82, where he was damn good in Mid-South. Then he went to Championship Wrestling from Florida in 82. Then he went to Georgia Championship Wrestling, where he was wrestling for the... He won a tournament for the vacated NWA National TV title. And he was a champion until July 83, when he lost it to Ronnie Garvin. After the match, Iron Sheik left Georgia Championship Wrestling, went to the WWF, back to WWF. 1983 to 87, and then he was there for a tiny bit in 88, which I don't remember him around at all in 88. He must have just worked Superstars or Wrestling Challenge. Because he wasn't a part of the Royal Rumble 88, he wasn't a part of WrestleMania 4, wasn't a part of SummerSlam 88, wasn't a part of Survivor Series 88, so where was he? I don't know. But Iron Sheik defeated Bob Backlund for the title. December 1983. Then, anyways, Iron Sheik was scheduled to have a rematch with Bob Backlund, but Bob Backlund was replaced by Hulk Hogan. 5 minutes in, Iron Sheik locked in the camel clutch. Hogan got to his feet, broke it. Iron Sheik fell backwards, took a back bump, leg drop, 1, 2, 3, and the legendary call by Gorilla Monsoon. 1, 2, 3, he got him. Hulkamania is here. Why did he say that? Because Hulkamania was born in the WWF, and it was thanks to the Iron Sheik putting him over, and putting over Hogan, and helping him become the top guy and top babyface. At the time, he needed a number one heel for Hogan to defeat, to just get pushed more and more as a guy. And the Iron Sheik was a perfect face, the perfect guy to put over Hogan at the perfect time. He was offered by Vern Gagne to take $100,000 or whatever, or $150,000, and break Hogan's leg and bring the title to the AWA. Well, Iron Sheik said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, Vern. And he did not do it. I'm glad he didn't. Imagine if he would have. That would have been fucking nuts. After he lost the title to Hogan, he would briefly start a bitter feud with Sergeant Slaughter, the ultimate babyface American hero, where he actually won a few matches by disqualification, but he lost the rest of them by pinfall and submission, including a boot camp rules match, which I remember was super bloody. I believe it's on Peacock. It's gotta be. I think it happened in 84. June or July 84, I think. That he feuded with Sergeant Slaughter. I think Slaughter was the one that was bleeding a ton against the Iron Sheik in the boot camp match. Teaming with Nikolai Volkov as just the ultimate bad guys that everybody hated, and they got booed out of arenas, and they were fucking money as heels. Where he teamed with Nikolai Volkov, they won the tag team titles at the first ever WrestleMania. And then, sadly, he was a part of WrestleMania 2 in the Football Players and Wrestlers Battle Royal from Chicago. But Sheik was eliminated in 5 minutes by Bruno Sammartino. Then he was arrested in 1987 and got fired. So this whole story, they were on their way to it's been explained in the biography of Iron Sheik. They were on their way to a WWF event, suspecting Hacksaw Jim Duggan of a DUI. After the search of the vehicle, police discovered that Duggan was under the influence of marijuana while the Sheik was high on cocaine. That's the 80s, basically, in a nutshell. And small amounts of cocaine were found in the vehicle. Hacksaw Jim Duggan received a release while the Sheik was placed on probation for a year. The mini scandal erupted because they were two enemies that were found drinking and doing drugs together, which had to end the end of their angle and program. Sadly, their program was dead. And also was Sheik's career in WWF at the time. But Vince must have loved Iron Sheik, because, seriously, gave him the title over Bob Backlund for Hogan to have the perfect opponent and villain to defeat. I think it was Vince Jr., that was his decision. Unless his dad was still booking, I don't know. fun fact about Iron Sheik Hulk Hogan from January 84 when Hogan goes to the ring. If you watch on Peacock, Hogan goes to the ring. Vince Sr. opens the curtain for him. That was pretty cool seeing that. Anyways, came back in February 88, which I don't remember. It must have just been on TV tapings or house shows. Defeated S.D. Jones. So Vince brought him back in 88, but then he was gone again. USWA. Or not USWA. WCCW, which would become USWA. AWA and WWC he worked for in 87 to 89. Went to World Championship Wrestling in 89 to 91. You want to see some of the worst match? This is no disrespect to the Iron Sheik. It wasn't his fault. He wasn't in his prime anymore. But you want to see some of the worst matches in WCW history? Watch the Iron Sheik against Sting at Music City Showdown. But that was, what the hell was that? Was Wrestle War 89. Iron Sheik Sting for the TV title. I mean, they must have knew Iron Sheik could not go anymore. I don't know why they brought him in. He was still a draw as a heel. But he couldn't move, and sadly he couldn't barely wrestle anymore. Sting defeated him really quick at Wrestle War 89. I'm talking like under a minute, I believe. And they faced off on probably at house shows also. In August 89, Iron Sheik formed an alliance with Ron Simmons. I do not remember. Anyways, you want to see another worse match in WCW? Iron Sheik against, I believe, Mike Rotundo at Great American Bash 90. It was not good. But Vince loved him so much. Vince McMahon Jr., he brought him back again. Seriously, brought him back again. He must have loved him. 1991 to 92, he was brought back. Where he was brought back as Colonel Mustafa, a part of Sergeant Slaughter's heel crew, basically. That was crazy as a kid. Seeing Sergeant Slaughter and Iron Sheik together, that was weird. And when he came to the ring, Colonel Mustafa, why was he going like this? Did he think he was a bushwhacker? Did he steal it from the bushwhackers? I don't know why he was doing that to the ring, but it was pretty damn funny. So, when he's back in 91-92, he's part of SummerSlam 91, the match Made in Hell. He was part of Royal Rumble 92. And then he's gone. May 92, where he defeated somebody on a house show or Superstars taping. And then after that, he left the promotion again. Then on late 96, Iron Sheik teamed up with his old nemesis, Bob Backlund, and they managed the Sultan for some reason, who had a Middle Eastern gimmick. I understand Iron Sheik being the manager of the Sultan. That was a good fit. Sadly, the Sultan character never got over. It was Rikishi as a Sultan, if you didn't know. I thought the Sultan as a kid, I was like 12 or 13. I thought his gimmick and his gear and his look, I thought he looked cool as hell. But again, I was 12 and 13. It was not a great gimmick. But he had a great look in his gear and the mask. The red mask. Even the action figure that Jax put out. I bought it. I have the softened figure still, and it looks cool. To me, at least. I don't have a giant... Let me get out this old school rubber 80s wrestling action figure. I don't have the Iron Sheik action figure, but I swear I used to. I lost it. I don't know where it went. Maybe it's in a box somewhere. But I do have Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Where's Iron Sheik? I don't know, but I used to have him. I wish I had him now to show you. I don't have any Iron Sheik action figures. Maybe I should buy an old one online. So he was there in 96 and part of 97. But then he'd leave again. He returned in the WrestleMania 17 gimmick Battle Royal, which was a highlight. The Iron Sheik couldn't take a bump. He probably would have broke his hip or something. He couldn't take a bump, so they put him over, and he won. To me, that's a career highlight. He won a WrestleMania gimmick Battle Royal at WrestleMania 17. And he had a lot of career highlights. Defeating Bob Backlund, feuding with Sergeant Slaughter, feuding with Hogan for a short time. I don't remember Sheik and Hogan wrestling that much after Hogan defeated him. They did work Philadelphia Spectrum. At least that's what's on Peacock from the old school shows. He wrestled Iron Sheik at the Spectrum. I don't know if they wrestled in Boston Garden or Madison Square Garden again. Maybe. I don't know. But I wish Peacock and WWE would get all those old school shows, like every single one of them. I wish they could put them on the fucking network, on Peacock. Seems like they're just giving up on putting out old school shows. The only old school shows they recently added to was WWF Superstars. Not to go on a rant about WWE on Peacock, but why can't you get Superstars episodes from like 85, 86 to 91, 92? I don't get it. Why can't they get the 80s Superstar shows on Peacock? I don't know why. They just uploaded WWF Superstars on Peacock. They got it from 92 to like the end of 96. What about the 80s? Hello? Did the 80s not exist? WWF, WWE? Like, why can't you... I don't know, maybe it's a legal fight or something that they can't call it Superstars of Wrestling on Peacock. I don't know if they're in court about it. But Iron Sheik, what a career. He had an acting career too. He was part of the Eric Andre show in 2014. He was a lot of these shows I never heard of. What I did hear of and see is he appeared on it was the Howard Stern show. He appeared on there in 06 and 07, maybe 2008 also. Or 07, 08, 09 maybe. And my God, Iron Sheik was hilarious on the Howard Stern show. He was always getting pissed off and just yelling at people. So, but it was hilarious. This one video, he was making an appearance, I think, with Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show, and they were like backstage. And Iron Sheik got really pissed off. He had a beer bottle in his hand. He was about to break it and like stab Beetlejuice because he didn't like him. Talking about the small dwarf Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show, not the movie Beetlejuice. But yeah, Iron Sheik did not like Beetlejuice, and that video is hilarious where he wanted to fight him, and he said, "I'm gonna fucking bash your little grape head in." or something like that. That was hilarious. Then people had to step in and stop the Iron Sheik from attacking Beetlejuice from the Howard Stern show. And just watch his promos, watch his interviews from the 80s. They were out of control. I don't know what he was on. Maybe he was not on anything, but his promos were nuts. For some reason, he called Mean Gene during one of them, or I don't know if he's calling Mean Gene that or another wrestler, but he called them a Jew for some reason. It was hilarious, his promos and interviews in the 80s. God bless YouTube for someone uploading those old interviews of the Iron Sheik and outtakes. So, rest in peace, Iron Sheik. He died in Georgia at his home on June 7th, 2023. He was 81 years old. Again, what I will remember in my memories of the Iron Sheik in wrestling, that he was a shooter, tough as fuck, great amateur wrestler, great professional wrestler, great worker, defeated Bob Backlund for the WWF title, put over Hulk Hogan like $1 million, made Hogan basically in the WWF, but Hogan would have got over without him, I think. But still, if you didn't have the Iron Sheik for Hogan to defeat, who would have Hogan defeated? Would have had to be another super hot villain that was like a foreigner. Could have been Ivan Koloff, I guess. But he was, I think, in the NWA in '84. Seriously, if Iron Sheik went to put over Hogan, it wouldn't have made Hogan as much as it did. And put him over as much as he got over. But to be fair to Hogan, he was already over in the AWA doing Hulkamania. So, no matter what, it was already over. But Iron Sheik putting him over in Madison Square Garden, January '84, that just absolutely elevated Hogan. Just the top guy in the business and most recognized wrestler. If you say to a non-wrestling fan, the Iron Sheik, I'm sure they've heard of him and probably know who he is and what he looked like. So I just want to say rest in peace, Iron Sheik. You will be missed. You were a great wrestler, one of the all-time best heels, and a great, great family man. Rest in peace, Iron Sheik. Iran #1, USA. Tuh!